Hi, I'm Alan Gordon and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about a very common sales situation. It's a negative situation. It happens to all of us. It's when you're given your presentation and they say, or he or she or one person or a group says, wow, this was really great. I'm going to present this to our boss, CEO, committee, husband, wife. You've done a great job. Now I have to run this past somebody else. So you have gotten yourself into a trap, a very common trap, of presenting and convincing someone who is not the decision maker. They can't say yes, they can't say no. All they can say is, wow, this is great. Now we have to present it to the decision maker. So I'm going to show you three things. The first I'm going to show you is how to, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but I want to be assertive. I want to assertively defend in the beginning of the process my right to present to all the stakeholders, to all the decision makers. I don't want to get caught in that trap. The first part of the video I'm going to show you that. Sometimes, despite my best efforts, I have to continue with the presentation knowing that the decision maker isn't there. I'm going to show you how to deal with that slightly weak, well, it's not slightly, it's a weaker situation. Then sometimes, and this really shouldn't happen, but it does happen, even to the best salespeople, you've given your presentation, then you find out you're done, and now you hear, okay, this was great. I've got to share this with the boss, the wife, the husband, the CEO, the committee, my partner. I've got to run this by them. You know, that's the weakest position, and I'm going to show you when you're in that position how you can, what the best way is to salvage it, okay? But first, the first part I want to talk about is how to assertively defend your right to present to the decision maker, okay? So normally a good question, first of all, most salespeople don't even ask the question, but at least ask the question, who is the decision maker? Almost always the person will tell you, I am the decision maker, okay? Even though the truth is they're not the decision maker. This is how you get into the trap. First of all, if you don't ask the question, you're just in the trap. But if you do ask the question, you may not be getting the right answer because it's not the best question to ask. You want to upgrade that question. Instead of asking, who is the decision maker, I want you to ask, please walk me through your decision process. Who all is involved after this? After you hear the presentation, who is involved after this? What's the process? Or if it's a husband and wife, and you're only talking to the husband or the wife, how do you and your spouse normally make a decision like this? If it's, she goes with everything I say, okay, great. I'm going to talk to you, you're the guy. If you say, well, I've got to run everything by her. So I want to dig in by asking, walk me through your decision process. Who are all the stakeholders? How is a decision, an important decision like this, made in your company? You know, it's interesting. Every company has a different decision process. Tell me a little bit about how you guys make a decision. And you know, when you're in that room with all the decision makers, who is the real decision maker? Who does everybody turn to and see if he's nodding up or nodding no? Now, I mean, who is that decision maker? Is it the CEO? Is it the board? You know, who is it? I want to know, okay? So that's really giving your best effort to try and broaden the decision process and not waste your time. I'm grateful for this person who's introducing me to the company and who wants to hear my presentation. I'm grateful. But I really want to understand all the stakeholders. I want to understand where the real power is, where the real decision maker is. So I do my very best effort to broaden that conversation and find out their decision process. Not just who's the decision maker, because they're going to say, oh, I am. All right, that's not what you want. You want to say, walk me through your decision process. Okay, so now, despite those best efforts, they say to you, no, the way we do it is you've got to present it to me, and then I will present it to the boss. Okay, that's a typical pushback. So what you want to do is be assertive here. In addition, you want to say something to the effect of, look, I'm sure you can understand our process, and it streamlines from a time point of view, from an expense point of view, for us to present this once to all the stakeholders. How can we get all the stakeholders in the room? Okay, so I've been assertive, I've pushed a little bit, I've explained clearly what my preference would be. But, okay, great. I have to give the presentation to this person, and then he is going to pass, or she is going to pass it on to the big boss, the decision maker. So what I do now I'm in the second position. I have to give the presentation knowing that all the stakeholders are not there. So now I ask these questions. Tell me a little bit about who the stakeholders are in this decision. What's important to them? What criteria are they considering? What other alternatives are they looking at? Okay, beyond this project, how does this project fit into the broader scope of your infrastructure, of your architecture, of your plans for this year, whatever it might be? Okay, so I have to give the presentation to you, but I want to find out what the decision makers think are important. I want to find out from you what's important to you, but I also want to find out what all the stakeholders think. Obviously, the more I know about this, and the reason I want to ask these questions is because I want to make sure that when you present it to the stakeholders or to the committee or to the boss or to your wife, that we are addressing all of their concerns. I want to know what their concerns are, and I want to know as much as I can about their needs, their concerns, their fears, their requirements, their alternatives, their options, their mindset. I want to know what's important to them, so when I give you my presentation, I want to cover not just your interests, but all the stakeholders. Does that sound reasonable? Yeah. So they give you more information. So that's number two. I have to give the information to one person, but before I start, I try to find out as much as possible about the needs, the desires, the fears, the concerns, the decision points, the pressure points of all the other stakeholders and really of the ultimate decision maker. So that's the second weakest position. Now let's suppose I'm just not very good. I just walked in and started giving the presentation to one person, and they say, this is really great, but now I've got to run this by my partner, my boss, my wife, the committee, the board of directors. Oh man, I did it again. I gave the presentation to the wrong person, and they were so excited that I got excited, and it was a great presentation. But now I've got to give it, now he or she is going to bring it to the real decision maker. So this is the weakest position. I've already given my presentation. So now I have to go back to, oh, okay, I understand. So you've got to talk to your partner before you can move forward. Perfect. But if it were up to you, this would be something you'd be interested in. Oh yeah, this is great. Okay, well let's talk a little bit about your partner. You said that these things were important to you. If your partner were here, what would your partner be saying was important? What are some of the concerns that your partner has, or the CEO has, or your boss has, or your wife, or your husband? What are some of their concerns? And now I pull out that information. Again, I'm in the weakest position. I've already made the mistake of giving the presentation without finding out anything about the decision process. But I've done it, so it's over. But now they tell me, okay, you gave me the presentation, but now I'm going to bring it to the boss. Tell me about the boss. Tell me about your wife. Tell me about their decision points, their needs. Go back to all of those questions, and now start your presentation again. Don't repeat your presentation, but say, oh, okay, so while you think you were more interested in the quality of the solution, you think your partner is going to be much more interested in price. How do you guys work that out? How do you decide do you go with the cheapest or do you go with the best quality? How do you work that out? Let me know. And now I pull out more and more information, go back into my presentation, cover the key points that remind them what was important to them and how this might be different for their boss or their partner. Does that make sense? Hey, I hope that was very helpful. Do your very best to defend your position up front. Really, as a professional salesperson, you need to get really good at asking about the decision process up front so you're not wasting your time presenting to someone who can only say no. They can't say yes. They can say yes, but we have to bring it to somebody else. Or they can say, yeah, I didn't like it. So I want to talk to the real decision maker, the person that can say yes or no. And so as a professional salesperson, I have to recognize when this is happening to me more than once, more than twice. I need to strengthen my upfront part of learning about the decision process. I hope that was helpful. I want you to pick one skill every day, and I want you to practice that skill, a different skill every day, until you have a broader and broader repertoire, until you're more and more comfortable in situations, until you become the master salesperson you want to be. Thanks.